We have a tremendous threat from the president.
Okay.
It's got to be met now. It's got to be met now.
Yeah.
And it's got to be met not through legislation primarily, but from getting people organized to respond.
Okay.
So the first piece of legislation I got passed was helping victims of violence in public housing and domestic violence, domestic abuse, get out quickly.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Another day's journey, so glad about it and so grateful for your joining me for another Real Talk with Pastor Waller. I am so excited about this conversation. Sometimes I like to remind you, this all started during COVID. If you remember, we always had a Saturday evening worship at 5 o'clock. That started in 1998. And from 1998 until 2020, we always had Saturday evening worship. Well, you remember that infamous weekend. We shut it down because of COVID. And then we decided that on Saturday evening, I would be in my basement. I would just go online and have a word of prayer with people and tell them what I know. And then, of course, I caught COVID. And when I caught COVID, it was back when it was scary. And I mean scary to the point where my doctor said, don't come in. It was scary to the point where Pastor Waller having COVID actually made the news. It was in the paper. And I had it at the same time that Chris Cuomo had COVID. So we're watching, Cuomo at night, and he's trying to die in his basement. And Sister Waller had put me in my basement, and I'm sitting there wondering, when am I going to start feeling like that? But what we realized is that I believe God allowed me to have COVID because it started a conversation in Philadelphia, and it was scary. But from there, I took every Saturday evening to not only talk about what's going on with the state of COVID, what's going on with the work we were doing with Ayla Stanford, then George Floyd hits. And we're also talking about what are we doing about this. And so since that time, every Saturday evening, I was in my basement and we were just talking about what's going on. We started having conversations. And then just 2 years ago now, the teenagers, the interns at this church said, Pastor, you got to get out your basement. You gotta clean this thing up. It can't just be you and your T-shirts and your hat in your basement. You got to let us. And so our summer interns took this to this level. So now I'm having conversations. It's Real Talk with Pastor Waller, but we're still doing the same thing, having real talk about real issues, introducing people of the community, persons who are running for office. I thought I was done, but then we found out that Art Haywood is here, and Art Haywood is here because he is our senator and has served with distinction, but he does have someone running against him, so we're going to have them both like we do any opportunity we have so that you can make some choices. So today, we're here with Senator Art Haywood, and he wants to make his case as to why he needs to continue to serve us. And so we want to welcome him to Real Talk with Pastor Waller. Brother Haywood, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic, and that's the first I heard of how this all came into being.
Yes, sir.
That's
yes,
amazing.
Sir. Yeah.
But it's also so amazing what interns and young people can tell us about what we need to do now, not just in the future.
Right. That's exactly right. I mean, and if you want brutal honesty, talk to the teenagers that love and respect you. They will then give you the real. And so I'm grateful for that. They helped design this room. They helped me think about how to take this to the next level. And one of the things that I intend to do with this conversation when we get out of the political conversation is have some more, as you have seen on Real Talk, with younger people. We need to hear from them. And they also need to hear from us. They need to know, particularly in this season, when we've seen all this before. This is not the first time we've had a president that doesn't like our community. This is not the first time where white supremacy, bigotry, all of that has raised its ugly head. This is not the first time that we've been in trouble. This is not the first time we've been at war. This is not the first time we've had bad economic outlook. We've been through it. The same God that brought us through before is going to bring us through again. But one of the ways he does that is with our representatives. So tell us a little bit about who you are, where you serve. You are a state senator. What is your area?
Sure.
And what have you been doing?
So I was raised by my mother, who was a public schools teacher in Toledo, Ohio, with my sister. And we had a huge focus on education. Went to public schools, but very fortunate. Went to Morehouse College. After that, London School of Economics. After that, Michigan Law School. And then I came to Philadelphia. And some people, at times, people ask me why I chose Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. For 6 weeks in a row, it never hit 32 in Ann Arbor. It was below 32 day and night.
That's right.
6 weeks in a row.
That's right.
I was thinking about Chicago or Philly. That made the decision for me. I came to Philly. My sister was here before. So I've been in Philadelphia since 85.
Okay.
Started off at Community Legal Services, where I was representing right down at Broad and Erie, where I was representing folks to help them save their homes from foreclosure. It was a huge foreclosure crisis in the 80s. And we helped a number of people save their homes. Then I left to help create affordable housing and represented numerous organizations, including Ogontz Avenue Revitalization Organization, for probably about 20 years to help revitalize neighborhoods, create affordable housing. And I did that for probably about 25 years as an attorney. Then the Barack Obama campaign.
Okay.
My wife and I were big volunteers.
Yep.
We did knock doors for Obama. We made calls for Obama. When he won, I said to myself, something good can happen in government. And I lived in Cheltenham Township, still do. Moved from Philly some time ago at that transition. And Cheltenham had an all-white board of commissioners, all men.
Yeah.
Had always been that. So a few of us said, hey, Obama won. We got to change what's happening right here.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So I and Kathy Hampton, African-American woman, we both ran. We both won.
Wow.
Surprisingly, we ran against Democrats who had been in there for quite a while, but didn't have the same kind of representation of neighborhoods. And then in 2014, ran for state senate and won. both times, I would say I was an unlikely winner, but winner nevertheless. And what I would say about how I've looked at public service, particularly now, I've been in for a little over 10 years. I see two sides of it. There's a community leader side, and there's a lawmaker side. And at first, I was just focused. I keep going?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, come on, we want to know you.
Yeah. At first, I was just focused on the lawmaker side,
Okay.
which is getting legislation passed. So the first piece of legislation I got passed was helping victims of violence in public housing and domestic violence, domestic abuse, get out quickly. And so I was a Republican. We were able to get legislation passed so folks can get out in 5 days if they've been a victim of domestic violence or sexual
So
violence.
say that again. You were a Republican?
No, I work with a Republican.
You work with a okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
wanna
I've
make
always
sure
been a
that-
Democrat.
Got you.
Thanks
Okay.
for that clarification.
All right. Yeah.
However, I think it's critical to work with Republicans if you want to get something done
Okay.
in a legislature that's Republican controlled. For my entire time in the state Senate, Republicans have had the majority.
That's right.
Right?
Yep.
So to get something passed, you got to get some Republican support.
That's right.
I mean, that's just the math. And so I've been glad to work with Republicans on things that are beneficial. So that was probably number one. After that, probably number two, I got a long list, but probably number two is housing. You know, I was a housing lawyer for a long time. We were able to get money for affordable housing. We started off when I got in there, it was $7 million a year. Then we got it to 25, then we got it to 42. Now we got to $100 million a year for affordable housing. And this is helping people in Philadelphia all over the state. Sometimes it's buying a house. Sometimes it's helping to pay for renting a house. Sometimes it's housing counseling. Last year we had $73 million as we get up to 100. So, but those are on the professional side. The biggest part of my life is not that.
Okay.
I am the proud father of 3 children.
Got you.
They are now adults. I am been married to Julie for over 36 years.
Amen.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's the biggest piece. I think the most challenging and rewarding part of my life has been a father.
That's right. That's
and
right.
that's
So you were
yeah.
married in what, 89?
89.
90? I was married in 89 as well.
What
yeah.
month?
Yeah, June 17.
November 18.
Wow.
That was a good year.
Yeah. So we're doing what? We're doing 37 this year.
I got to tell you something about that. My wife and I met in an internship.
Wow. Excellent.
We were
Excellent.
at the NAACP, Legal Defense Fund. She was at UCL Law School.
Yep.
I was at Michigan Law School, second year summer. And I tell people, you can get a lot out of an internship.
That's it. That's it. Well, you know, I'm excited to hear about that, and that speaks to character, and that speaks to who you are. Now, I'm struggling because the Ohio part of you makes me want to embrace you because we're both from Ohio. But the Morehouse part of you, you know, everybody knows I've got an ongoing jealousy of all men who went to Morehouse.
I've heard that.
Yes. And the problem is I didn't go to Morehouse. When I have my friends are men who went to Morehouse. When I went to college, I went to Ohio University because I just wanted to be a wrestler.
OU.
And OU, that's right. And I regret it because after I got on campus and went crazy for 5 years, I didn't wrestle. And so I have this jealousy because I want to be able to be from Morehouse, but I'm not. So I pretend to not like people from Morehouse.
Let me tell you a quick story about how I got to Morehouse.
Mm-hmm.
I applied to 3 schools. Fisk, Morehouse, Howard. Fisk never replied to my application.
Wow.
Whatever happened.
Yeah.
Howard replied, 0 money.
Right. Morehouse
replied, money.
That's it. You go message, you go where the money is. I end up joining the Army because back in the 80s, I was in Army National Guard, and they paid 100% of your tuition. When I realized I wasn't going to wrestle, I joined the Army National Guard. They paid 100% tuition to a state school, and so that I appreciate. So
What's 100%?
the whole thing.
I mean,
Right.
what kind of choice is that?
That's right. 100%. So I'm grateful for that. And I loved the military. But tell us what's going on. Why are you still doing this? Why do you still want to do it? And what are the needs of our community right now that you're addressing through the Senate?
So we've had a lot of success that I think we can build upon. The first thing was gun violence prevention. And what we were able to do is coordinate many of the organizations that were doing the work.
Yeah.
Get them some money, coordinate them, and significantly reduce gun violence. I know right now the police department is taking all the credit, but local organizations, community groups who broke up beefs, who took people out of high crime and put them into better lives, who cleaned blocks. We got a group that got $800,000 to clean the high crime, high violence groups, blocks. That was targeted. And we know that crime contributes to crime. So this community stuff made a big difference, and I was glad to be part of that. In addition, I mentioned the housing, the child care. I didn't mention the child care. There's something called a benefits cliff, which is when you get a certain amount of money, you lose the public benefits you were receiving. This was particularly the case for child care. And I have a relative, niece. She was receiving some child care support. Her income was going up, and she was getting ready to get kicked off. But she still really couldn't afford it. So we were able to get legislation with Republicans so that someone's income could be 3 times poverty and still maintain assistance. That's like a family of 3 with $80,000.
Okay.
Now, a family of 3 with $80,000, that's still in a struggling kind of environment. And so that, to me, was very significant. So that's going back. These kind of changes for our communities make a big difference. Gun violence down, child care assistance. I'm on the board of FIA, which is a student loan agency.
Yep.
I'm also on the board of PASHE, the state university.
Yeah.
So in both of those organizations, I'm able to either get more money to students or better college experiences through PASHE. So I would say, for me, the main reasons I'm in at this time is not we always want to serve the community, make the neighborhood better. We have a tremendous threat from the president.
Okay.
It's got to be met now. It's got to be met now.
Yeah.
And it's got to be met not through legislation primarily, but from getting people organized to respond.
Okay.
So, for instance, every Monday at 11, I and interfaith leaders have a vigil at the ICE headquarters at 8th and Cherry. We invite everyone to come. This is month 5 of these vigils. And what we have seen, not through just vigil alone, but through other public condemnation of the brutality, a significant change in public opinion. Back in January, 70% of Americans, from a public opinion, were for mass deportation. That's 70%. Get them all out of here. Last month, there was about 60% who said ICE has gone too far.
Right.
This is because the public and organizations are bringing the brutality to light. The vigils bring it to light. The protests bring it to light. Folks don't want the brutality. So this is an important way to address the challenge. People organization, not legislation. We in the state Senate are 2 away from the majority. We win a seat in Montgomery County, we win a seat in Bucks County, then we will have the majority in the state Senate. That means we can raise the minimum wage.
Yeah.
That means we can have paid family leave, right? That means we can restrict gun access. And I have been to each of those districts mobilizing people to vote.
Got you.
And that is critical because it's not going to happen alone. I was part of Turn PA Blue, where we sent people from this area to the Northwest. We sent them all over Montgomery County, knocking doors like I did for Obama, making calls like I did for Obama to flip. Because that's how we have Joanna McClinton as a speaker. We got to flip those seats. So this is critical for our nation. I would say the last thing is I'm not done. There's a lot of positive change that can happen in these communities. I have built tremendous relationships in the neighborhood with local government, Mayor Parker, with the state government, with Governor Shapiro. And these relationships can bring resources to our neighbors and bring solutions. And this is a critical time for our nation.
Thank you for that. I've got two questions.
Certainly.
On the ICE piece, right?
Yes.
Where is the middle ground in the conversation? Obviously, we know, I'm not talking about television stuff. We know that there is an issue with persons who are here that are not citizens. We don't know that. The other side makes it sound like it's a really big, scary problem and they're taking over elections, which we know is not true. ICE has been around for 30 years. It's not like it's new. The way it's being used now is very different, like the Gestapo, which is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
What is the real issue in Pennsylvania that needs to be addressed as it relates to persons who are not citizens?
Understood.
What's the real existential problem, and what is the foolishness?
So Pennsylvania does not have an immigration problem.
Okay.
Pennsylvania needs more immigrants in order to make up for the loss of population.
Yeah.
Our state is in decline in terms of population. So
Okay.
we need a lot more immigrants. Otherwise, our population is going to continue to drop. Same thing in Philadelphia.
Okay.
We need a lot more immigrants. Otherwise, our childbirths are not at the level to keep up. And without the immigrants, our population is going down. And that means the people who got to do the work going down. So that's number one. We need more immigrants in Pennsylvania and in Philadelphia. Number two, the individuals who are being taken up, taken off the streets, they're not violent criminals. They're taking people who had a DUI, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that there aren't some, and those people shouldn't be here. And I'm for getting the violent folks out.
Right.
But I want to share one thing about the folks who are undocumented.
Okay.
It can take 10 to 15 years to get documentation. That's how broken the system is.
Right.
10 to 15 years to get documentation. Your visa expired. So that's a long time. And so much of the reason we have undocumented people is because we don't have a process to get people documented in any kind of reasonable time frame.
Okay.
15 years?
Right.
You're going to be undocumented, right? So this is why many people, and I as well, call for a path to legalization that's reasonable, that's timely, which we don't have and have not had. The ICE challenge is brutality, primarily. You see them pulling people out of cars, masking, which is hiding, and impact on law enforcement. I talked to a Philadelphia police officer last Monday, 2 Mondays ago. He shared that ICE activities are undermining people interested in law enforcement.
Really?
It's undermining trust. So much so that Philly police who are doing undercover work now are wearing a badge on their shoulder, a sleeve on their shoulder actually, that says Philadelphia Police Department, because they don't want to be confused
with ICE.
ICE.
Yeah.
And so ICE is hurting local law enforcement that's just trying to get the job done.
Yeah.
So I would say that the main challenge we have in Pennsylvania and in Philadelphia, and I'm not talking about Texas, right? I don't have it.
Right.
But here, our main challenge is we got to get people legalized, and we need more. We need more immigrants, but we certainly need a pass. So it don't take 10 years. That's unreasonable.
So thank you for that. Now, I want to ask a question that me, you, all of us have to wrestle with. I've been the pastor of Enon for 32 years. I've been a pastor in Pennsylvania for 36 years. We've got gray hair. We've served with distinction. But we all have to begin to think about how do we prepare for the next generation. What does that sound like to you? How do you have that conversation with yourself? And when people are looking and saying, so when is it time for us to think about, I know for me, and people at Enon know I'm pointing at 70. I'm turning 62 next week, and so that's 8 more years for me. How do you have that conversation?
So, number one, I think it's critical we bring up the next generation.
Yep.
And one of the ways I've done that is we have a group with Louis Cortez.
Yeah. Yep.
George Che. So we got an Asian American, we got a Latino American, and me.
Okay.
We have come together for the last 4 years to recruit and try to place some young people on boards and commissions.
Yes.
Because the boards and commissions have a term that's longer than these political terms, right? We can get some folks in these smaller boards and commissions, foundations, and then they can move up over time. We've had some of that conversation about how we get people on boards and commissions.
That's right. Yep.
So that is a bigger than me approach. We're going to go to me, but that's a bigger than me approach, which is, can we get our young people in positions of influence? They can start at a $10 million organization and then move up to a $100 million organization. So that is critical. For me, I look at how long can I be effective, and in terms of my ability to stay in this position. And because I've built up more relationships than ever before, more support probably than ever before, I'm in a better position to deliver for the neighborhood. So I don't want to give up the strongest capacity to deliver for the neighborhood. Now, at the same time, I have identified a number of people who I think would be fantastic in these positions. And I mentor about 2 or 3 elected officials on periodic conversations.
Got you.
So I am comfortable that there will be an amazing person to take this position when my time is up. I'm very comfortable with that. There's people, they just need they're getting ready. They're getting ready, and I'm getting them ready as well.
Got you. Thank you for that. And so, again, I wanted you on here because you do have someone that's running. I'm going to have him on here to have the conversation so that you all can make your decision, because we're going to take care of our community. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you think people need to know or hear from you as we get ready for May 19th? But I want you to share that now before we have a word of prayer.
I would only say this. There's a lot of conversation in our community about voting rights.
Got it.
And the need for more voting rights.
Yeah.
Our challenge is using the rights that we have. Right now, we can vote at home with mail-in ballot. If you don't want to vote at home, you got half the day to vote in person.
Yeah.
Our turnout in Philadelphia was one of the lowest in the state in November. There's 67 counties in the Pennsylvania. Philadelphia was 64th out of 67.
Wow.
That has nothing to do with everybody in Pennsylvania got the same voting rights.
Right.
That's level.
Right. Yeah.
So our challenge is not, I think our core challenge is not about voting rights.
It's participation.
Voting participation.
Yeah.
Using the rights that we have.
Got you.
So if that would be the main thing I would share is we should vote as if we have never before.
That's right.
We are choosing between 2 candidates, and that's it. There's not the person you like, maybe, right? It's not the person you like the most. It's going to be 2 people on the ballot. We've got to choose one and not say the perfect person is not on the ballot, so I'm staying home.
Right. Can't do that.
Perfect persons may not be on the ballot. Most times, perfect person is not on the ballot.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So that would be my main message, to encourage people to vote May 19th and in November. It will have a huge impact, as you folks can see, in terms of who governs. Who governs is an important decision.
That's exactly right. And thank you for that. And one of the things I want to remind you as we get ready to go to God in prayer, you need to show up at this one to just make sure you've been seen, that that the people know you exist. We know that this is a Democratic seat. We know that the winner of this one is going to be the winner in November, but you've got to go. You need to sign in. You need to let people know there are going to be attacks on our rights, but it's going to be easier for them to win if we're not exercising our rights. And so I'm looking forward to seeing you out there. And let me just remind you, if you're interested in being a part of what I am doing, and that is poll chaplains. We're not Republican, we're not Democratic. This is a part of a 10-state strategy where I have clergy, I'm a part of a larger group of clergy around the country where persons, and you don't have to be clergy to do this, you'll learn de-escalation strategies, you will be certified, we will be out at the polls, we'll be there to be kind to the voters, we'll be kind to the judge of elections, we'll just be out representing goodwill. I want to make sure that everything in the Northwest is covered, but we also identify the low voter turnout areas in Erie, in Harrisburg, and in Pittsburgh, where we are. And I want to encourage you, if you think you're interested in that, I'm looking forward to your coming, signing up, and being a part of the poll chaplains. So listen, Brother Haywood, we thank you for being here with us. We thank you for your service, and we're praying for you, as we get ready to exercise our franchise. So come on, I'll see y'all in the morning. So let's have a word of prayer. God, I love you, I bless you, and I thank you. I thank you for Senator Haywood and for what he means to our community. I thank you for the history of service, but I also thank you that he's present right now thinking about not only what he's done, but what he plans to do. I pray, God, that you would help us to make right decisions around every elected official, that ultimately you would get glory and it would be for our good. Lord, I pray for everyone under the sound of my voice, and I pray that your will be done. And we'll be ever so mindful to give you all the praise, glory, and honor. It is through Christ, and for his sake we do pray. Let us all say, amen, amen, and amen. Listen, I love you much. Talk with you real soon. God bless you and God keep you is my prayer.